Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me. One more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
Month 2025 at 5:35 p.m. First item of business is the approval of minutes. I'll need a motion on the draft minutes of the May 13, 2025 finance meeting.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 3, public appearances for non-agenda items. We don't have anyone online. Do we have anyone in chambers? Seeing none, we can move on to item 4, Finance Director Report. Misty?
Thank you. So I'll start with the arbitrage report that's included in the packet. This is for our 2019 debt issuance. We went through the exercise to make sure that we do not have to make an arbitrage rebate payment, and we do not. So all good news there. Then I'll pause in case there's questions.
And this is not the one
No.
that we are anticipating. Okay.
No.
Yeah, so this was like 2% yield. There's no way we would have needed to pay any arbitrage, right? Never a thought.
Interest rates were really low, plus we spent it really fast because none of our projects were delayed. So
Okay.
this one went really well. Yes.
Can you remind us at a high level what sort of projects were included in that $9.5 million?
I don't remember, but I can. Was it in the report?
It might have been, but I don't think it was. Was part of that. It was 2019, so I imagine Fish Hatchery Road might have been part of that.
Yep. It is not in there. I can report back at the next meeting what's all in there, but it's generally it would be roads, buildings, or large like fire equipment would be kind of the 3 main categories that we have. But I'll report back next time.
Awesome, thank you.
And so this becomes an issue in the time period when the interest rates are rising, right? Because you're borrowing prior to that, and then, okay.
Exactly. So it becomes an issue for arbitrage in 2 situations. One is when we don't spend the money fast enough, and so we don't get an exception. So that happened with the 2021 issuance, which we know we'll owe a payment for, and then 24, which you'll see referred out tonight, where I'm doing some shifting to address that. The other way would be if, yes, we earn more interest on it than what we pay in the debt. So. Other than that, not really much different from the last report. So we're still working through the final audit. The CIP from the mayor's proposal will be issued next week, Friday, and then still working on getting ready for the budget process. So everything's still kind of the same.
It's a busy time of year.
Absolutely.
Next item, thank you so much. Next item is the review of bills. We need item 5A, a detailed review of checks for $10,000 and above from May 1 to 15, 2025, totaling $286,262.70. Comments or questions? Seeing none. 5B, detailed review of all checks issued, checks 128646 to 128712 from May 1 to 15, 2025, totaling $380,794.72. Comments or questions? Bill?
There's a check written for a metalsmith program. I really want to know more about that.
My guess is it's the library program, but do you know what page it was on?
28 of the packet.
Do you know what page of that particular item?
Yeah, 6.
6. Excellent, thank you. It is, yep, the Metalsmith program. So that was a library program. It was actually funded by a Beyond the Page grant. So the Madison Community Foundation reimbursed the library for that program. But it sounds like it was a pretty neat program.
Sounds fun. Seeing nothing else, we can move on to 5C. Detailed review of P-card transactions for $10,000 and above for the cycle ending April 7, 2025, totaling $84,294.74. Comments or questions? Moving on to 5D. Review of P-card transactions for the cycle ending April 7, 2025, totaling $208,592.50. Comments or questions? We can move on to item 6, action items. 6A, I'll need a motion on resolution R8225, acceptance of police canine donation and purchase of canine and training.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Latisse. And our Captain Hartwick, you're going to cover this one?
Whoever you'd like to cover it, it's fine. So we are very fortunate to be supported by the Fitchburg Law Enforcement Foundation, and one of their first missions after being a new organization was to fundraise for our new canine. Canine Drago will be retiring in August, and so they have raised sufficient funds for us to send the next handler to training and to purchase the canine.
Wow. That's outstanding.
Does this one have a name yet?
I can't reveal.
Okay, that's fair.
Do you mean the handler or the dog? So is it a different handler with each new dog?
Yes. Well, the route that we selected a new handler. Sergeant Parker is a supervisor, and so we want to keep him in that role. And traditionally, it's an opportunity that we want to kind of keep fresh for new folks. But yes, it will be a new handler.
And how long does it take for a dog? Do you know how long it takes for a dog to be trained?
Well, the training that the handler will go to will be 3 weeks. However, the training's been ongoing for quite some time. It's a rather involved process of importing dogs from Europe and then training them at the kennel that imports them, getting them ready for the handler, and then really it's just teaching the handler how to handle the dog.
Wow. So the training is for the person handling
Correct.
the dog and
Yeah,
not for
yeah,
the
yeah.
dog. Wow. And so what happens to Draco?
Drago will live out retirement with Sergeant Parker.
Oh, I love hearing that. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor of resolution R8225, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item 6B, I'll need a motion on resolution R8325, approving purchase of 2025 1.5-inch and 2-inch meters.
I move approval.
Motion to approve by Alder Jetzer. And Tim.
Thank you. The capital improvement plan includes funds to replace all 1.5-inch and 2-inch low lead meters over a 4-year period. This resolution approves the purchase of 41 Badger E-Series meters. The Badger E-Series meters are ultrasonic. They have no mechanical components and are more accurate at low flows than our existing meters. There are funds in the budget for this project. We're looking for council to authorize the purchase of the 1.5-inch and 2-inch meters and authorize $53,909 for this purchase to be paid as outlined on the attached pre-approval form.
Thanks, Tim. Do we still have an LTE? We had an LTE plumber to help with this project before. Do we still have that position? Or is that accurate?
Yes, the LTE plumber is still with us, and hence the reason to purchase these meters is since he's still on the payroll, we want to keep him busy and try to finish out this project. We anticipate it to be finished either late this year or early next year.
Wow. So it's already been 4 years, or?
No, because we have the LTE plumber, we wanted to finish before 4 years, since take advantage of his services.
That's wonderful. Other questions? Seeing none, all in favor of Resolution Resolution R8325, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Tim. Next item is item 6C. I'll need a motion on Resolution R8725. Nope. 6C, I'll need a motion on Resolution R8625, approval of contract with Redevelopment Resources for the 2025 Comprehensive Housing Study and Action Plan.
Move to approve.
Motion approved by Audrey Latisse. Laureen, our housing specialist,
Hi.
you're up.
So surprisingly, it's almost 1 year of my employment, so 1 year anniversary in July.
Happy anniversary.
Yes. So one of the main objectives in my role is to update the housing plan. So currently we have the 2019 housing plan in place, and it's a great plan, but there's just a lot of market changes. And so it's time for a refresh, and we actually decided to redo it completely just because of the market changes. We did an extensive RFP process starting in February. And we actually had quite a bit of response. So 12 consultants reached out, expressed interest, and both Mike and I did a meeting with all of the consultants, and about 7 of those consultants sent a formal email of intent. So we created a steering committee that consisted of Mark Hamilton from CETA, Ginny Sanders from Housing Advisory, Brad Sipple, that's our staff community development planner, and Janice Hughes for Commission on Aging Well, just to kind of get a diverse audience. And we unanimously selected Redevelopment Resources. And really what stood out, well, both their RFP was excellent, but then the interview process, and really there's a team of 3 individuals, which is Kristen Fish-Peterson, who is the principal and CEO, Dana Sarver, who's the chief data geek, is what she titles herself, and then Dean Prestegard, who is a senior economist and also has extensive experience in transportation. So they really had a pulse on our community and really understand our needs, and then senior focus. They had extensive experience of working with seniors. And they also did housing plans for Rockford, Illinois, Sheboygan, which is really leading the charge in housing, and Plymouth. And also expertise in zoning and planning, which is crucial because we will be updating our comprehensive plan soon. So that can definitely inform that plan. And just a really deep understanding of our population. So we unanimously selected them. And also another thing from a budget standpoint, they're able to stay within our budget of $60,000, and they really honed in that they will do what it takes to get it done. So, and then also they can adhere to our timelines, or we plan to start, if it's approved, plan to start in June and then end of November. So by the end of the year, we will have a proposal that will be presented to the council. And that's pretty much it.
That's
Any
wonderful. Questions?
Just one. In the proposal in the packet, in the budget in the section 8, the hours numbers that they put in here don't actually add up to the totals that they put in here. I assume in like the actual proposal that it adds up to what they wanted to, but I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you for pointing that out. I think just that bottom line of the 60,000 is what they really are going to adhere to. So, and then also June 6th, they'll have a project initiation, so a kickoff meeting with the steering committee to kind of talk about the needs and how we're going to begin the process. Another crucial thing that I really wanted to focus on in this plan is have focus groups. I think it's important to have our community involved in this process, and hearing their needs is also very important. So that will be a focus. They will have different focus groups, kind of utilizing some of the events that we have here, and then also going out to the residents, especially in the healthy neighborhoods, is a focus.
Yeah, so would it have been handy to have this done before we did the South Stoner Prairie and And Greenfield neighborhood plans?
Good question.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, we had a 2019 plan, and I'm assuming that played into the neighborhood plans to some degree.
I think they had a timeline that they had to adhere to too, so I think but they utilize a lot of information from the 2019, so I think if there are some updates that need to be, they'll take that into account. So I did mention that, that if, our team noticed that, there's some changes that needed to be made, they could do that, so.
Great. This is wonderful. I liked that they said that Kurt Paulson, UW professor,
Yes.
said some good things about them. I noticed that. I was like, yes, okay. Kurt is awesome, so that's great to hear. And you said that they might be able to help inform the comp plan and the zoning code update.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, because that's nice to know that's on the works. So the $60,000, does it come out of the CETA budget, or what is the source of those funds?
Affordable housing budget, is that?
Oh, affordable housing fund. That would make sense.
Misty, feel free to jump in if
But yeah, I mean, this is such an important thing. It's so great to have you on staff, and we really need to, it's time to invest in this. And as you said, the market has changed so much that sometimes we can do things internally as a staff, and sometimes we need help from experts. And so I think it's great that we're contracting this to support you on this, because this can't be missed. We have to do this well. And so getting help, I think, is really key. So I think it was a great choice. Do we have a...
I think it is the affordable housing
fund.
And then also, I just forgot to mention, Kristen will be available via Zoom in the council meeting, so you can ask questions of her as well.
Wonderful. Seeing no other questions, we can vote. All in favor of Resolution R8625, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Lorraine.
Thank you.
Next item, 6D. I'll need a motion on Resolution R8725, authorizing the water utility to file a simplified rate increase application with the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin.
I move approval.
Motion to approve by Alder Jetzer. Misty?
Yeah. So the water utility is a regulated utility by the Public Service Commission. And so anytime that we want to increase our rates in order to meet our costs, we have to file through the PSC. We looked at our 2024 end of year numbers, and our rate of return was 2.58%. We're authorized under our last rate study to be at 6.6%. So we're not anywhere near kind of that target of what we should be at. So we elected to go through the simplified rate adjustment process. So there's the full rate process, which is a very involved, we hire a consultant to help us do all the calculations, do a whole thing, send that to the PSC to set our rates. We did that in 2024. The simplified process that we're proposing that we do now is a much streamlined version. I think the form that we have to fill out is even in the packet. It's like a one-pager. If it's approved by the PSC, we could get a flat 3% increase on our rates to just try to keep up with what our costs are going to be. I'll mention, even with that 3% rate increase, it'll still keep our rate of return at just 3.3%. So we're still not hitting our target, but we'll do the simplified for a couple of times just to kind of inch up, and then we'll do the full rate increase a few years from now. And then as far as impact to the average home with that 3% increase, it'll cost about $1.42 per quarter, or less than $6 per year.
And if I recall correctly from the finance reports, our water utility is very healthy. This
Absolutely.
is just staying ahead of the needs.
Yep. And part of why it is healthy is because we stay on top of those rates as we need to.
Great. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor of Resolution R8725, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, Resolution R8925, adopting the 2026 annual city budget schedule.
Move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Ledesay. Misty.
Yep. So this is another one of those annual processes. The proposed schedule in front of you is very similar to last year. There's a couple of changes that are noted at the bottom. One of the big ones is the committee of the whole meeting. We moved that to the 5th Wednesday in October because that 4th Wednesday was really messing up the schedule. But other than that, this schedule would allow us to get that process done on time as expected.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to note for the new alders that there's a quick turnaround between the the public hearing and the actual amendments due, and that's just the needs of the staff to actually be able to put the packet together in time to hit all those deadlines. Any questions? Bill?
Are we at all concerned about the public hearing on Veterans Day? Are people going to be upset about having it on a holiday?
Being November 11th.
Right.
So I hope not. It's very much so preferred to adopt the budget on that first meeting in November because that leads into the property tax bill time, and bumping it earlier I think is unrealistic based on the different steps that are there. So if council will still be happening on that day, then I think budget should probably still happen on that day.
Seeing no other questions, we can take it to a vote. All in favor of resolution R8925, say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on, I'll need a motion on resolution R9025, amending the 2025 general fund budget, grant-funded wellness classes for city staff.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Misty?
Thank you. HR staff submitted for a grant from the Employee Trust Fund, or ETF, and it was awarded. One of the projects they would like to use this grant money for is to offer wellness classes to city staff. In order to offer those classes, there's an LTE in the senior center that offers similar classes, so we would authorize additional hours for these additional classes for staff purposes, 100% funded by the grant.
That sounds wonderful.
Great opportunity.
Who applied for that?
Sarah Massa Myers in the HR department.
Oh, that's fantastic. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor of resolution R9025, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously, and that is a 2/3 vote, but we have 2/3.
At council.
It's not for finance, just council. Good to know. Next item, I'll need a motion on resolution R9325, approving Microsoft Enterprise License Agreement Renewal.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Lettuce. Misty?
This is a very expensive contract, but is basically necessary in order for city function to continue. It's a 3-year contract to continue with our Microsoft licensing. The reason why it's coming to council is because it's a 3-year contract, so there's no budget that exists yet for 26 and 27, but you'll ultimately be obligated to fulfill that when the budget time comes.
Some of those big important things are just very expensive.
Very.
Questions? Seeing none, all in favor of resolution R9325, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next is, I'll need a motion on resolution R9925, authorizing partial tax assessment refund for FTC Retail East for 2022 and 2023.
I move approval.
Motion to approve by Alder Jetzer. Misty?
So the last meeting, we had something that was similar, but for FTC Retail West. This is for FTC Retail East. There is a closed session at the council meeting tonight, so it could be an option if this committee would like to send it to council without a recommendation from finance. That is what we did last time, so that the discussion could happen in the closed session. Or if you felt comfortable, we could make a recommendation on it tonight too.
How do we feel about, Bill, do you have a motion? I don't mind pushing it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I move we punt on this and let the full council discuss.
So you withdraw your original motion and make a new motion?
Did Micah make the motion, or did Bill? Bill did?
Yeah.
Bill did.
Build it.
Yes. I'll
So you're
withdraw my
withdrawing-
original motion.
And then moving to send to council without a recommendation?
Correct.
Perfect.
All in favor of referring to council without a recommendation, say, of R9925, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Just pull up my agenda. We are at the end of our action items. Next item is 7 announcements. Our next finance meeting is June 10, 2025. Is there anything else? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. On the table, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We are adjourned at 5:58 p.m. Thank you.